Check, check, check. Check, check, check. All right, you are now listening to Tony Talks. It's like TED Talks, except there's no TED, just Tony. So, Tony Talks is a division of Just Cuz TV, if you didn't know. My cousin and I, Mark, came up with the idea to have our individual podcast sessions because anytime we discuss things, we always debate. And, our individual perspectives kind of get lost in the conversation sometimes. So now you get to hear both of us and kind of see where we're coming from. So this week, we are talking about relationships, love and relationships. So first week of the month is always love, relationships, friendships, or what have you. And before I get into all of that, I always like to start my sections off to kind of create a little vibe. So this week, I'm going to play a song. And that song is by Sean Nizzle and Chris Martin. It's called Blackboard. So here we go.
Take me chalk and mark up your blackboard. Cause you deserve a man to give you loving and much more.
Yes, woman, yes you do.
Then I'm gonna drive me car on your road. Cause me done already have your road code. Girl, I gon' take me chalk and mark up.
If you didn't know, this is an old Beanie Man tune remake.
Hey, who am I? The new girls, them sugar. And I
Girls, them sugar.
the girl, them
Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
and we're not out the girls ask any umpire. Now hang up my boots, I will never retire.
You get it?
And I will never get tired. Girl, to know me is to love.
Woo.
And me and you together would be lovely. Girl, I gon' take me chalk and mark up your block. Gonna mark it up, girl.
I hope you know what that means.
Come on, baby, you're loving and much more.
Context clues.
Then I'm gonna drive me car on your road.
Yes, I am.
Me done already have your road code. Girl, I gon' take me chalk and mark up your blackboard. You get serious, you know.
All right. We're done with that. Now, I hope you understand what it means to take your chalk and mark up your blackboard. If you don't, I'm going to play the song again when we're done, and then maybe you'll understand it then. Okay, so this week, what should I talk about? How about, I was having a conversation with my sister. Before I get into all of that, I'll break this down. So, if you're not familiar with the term sistren, it's a Caribbean term. It basically means like sister and a friend. So, sister friend, sistren. Same thing with brethren, brother and a friend, brethren. If you didn't know about those two terms, now you do. That was my history lesson for the day. All right, so again, I was talking with my sister, and she was basically venting to me about how she hates the modern dating game. Like it sucks. And I've been hearing that so much from a lot of my female friends about the modern dating game, and it sucks. And what my sister was basically saying is that she just doesn't like how every time she starts talking to a dude or a new dude, the situation always ends up salt. Now, let's put this into perspective. Now, with her, she recently got out of a long relationship. And when I say recently, I mean anywhere from 0 to 2 years, okay? And she doesn't like the fact that every time she talks to a dude, it always ends up in something where either the dude ends up liking her way faster than she likes him, or they do something that she just doesn't like, and she just doesn't feel like it's flowing the way it should be. Some of it could play into like the quality of dude, but now let's break down the modern dating game. All right, so back in like the 90s, in my opinion, I think it was probably a lot harder to date, but it was probably a lot more fun compared to today, because there wasn't as much technology back then as there was now. The world was actually a lot bigger. You had to meet somebody and then get to know them and find out everything firsthand. Whereas today, you got all these social media platforms to where, even, you can get to know somebody professionally and almost personally before you actually meet them in person. So like, you got like LinkedIn. So if you know somebody's name, you can find out their whole work history and education history right then and there before they even tell you. And then if they are very active on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and whatever else is out there, somebody puts out a bunch of pictures of them, you can get an idea of their fashion game or their interests, because that's generally what most people post. So I say that to say that you don't really have to do much work into getting to know people, at least from a surface level. I mean, to get to know anybody deeply, you have to spend time and energy, but a lot of that, a lot of the work is kind of done for you. Worse if they have Twitter and they put all of their thoughts out there for you to read. So if you're somebody that likes to consume that, I say all of that to say is it all boils down to you can get to know somebody way quicker without even physically meeting them. So going back to my sister, again, I think her particular issue is that, she got out of a long relationship and she may not be fully healed from that situation. So she may not be sure of what she wants out of a new suitor. Okay. And then from the suitor's perspective, that person may be sure about what they want and maybe has not done a good enough job to communicate that. Or if they do communicate it, maybe it's my friend's fault for kind of ignoring, their needs. And I think a lot of people end up in that situation because as humans, most of us are naturally selfish. We want what we want. And only select few kind of put it into perspective and consider the other person's needs and wants. Now, humans, we also naturally deceive each other because we all want what we want, but some people have an issue kind of putting that all out there and giving the other person the ability to kind of determine if they want to go along with what we each want. And, that's natural. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, I don't understand why people just don't tell the truth about what they want up front, because it's just like a business transaction. I mean, you could have, no plan, no factory, but you need customers so that you can make money. So you're going to tell the customer whatever they want to hear so that you can get the business and then figure out the rest later. And, relationships and dating, maybe not relationships, but dating kind of works the same way. You're trying to court somebody, you're trying to get their attention. So you're going to tell them whatever they want to hear. You're going to show them a good time because you're trying to court them. You're trying to get them and win their business. And then you'll make it work after the fact. So we all make that mistake. But when the situation goes the way we didn't plan for, it can hurt. So I think that's what my sister is kind of running into. Her particular situation is that, one of the dudes that she was telling me about, she's dealing with the guy, but she doesn't necessarily want to get sexual with him because she's not ready for that. But, she's ignoring his needs. And I told her, I'm like, you can't really do that. You can't ignore what he wants because you don't want that. You got to make a decision to see if you want to go down that road. And then if you're not, you got to split. You can't. And then the mistake that she's basically making is that she doesn't want to be sexual with him, but she wants everything else. She wants the emotional companionship, the talking every day, the good morning texts, and all of that. But obviously he's unhappy dealing with all of that. So she got upset, like, why does it have to be like that? And I'm like, I mean, that's kind of selfish to look at it that way. Now, if you disregard like your whole moral standards, your 90-day rules and all that, we're not going into all of that. We're just, talking about the bare bones of the situation. We as humans all make those mistakes and ignore what each other wants. And all I'm saying is that we should probably do a better job of understanding, using our intuition to understand what people want, and then try our best to communicate that up front and go and see if, both parties are willing to go along with it. And I know I have this like transactional business way of looking at things, and sometimes I kind of negate people's emotions and feelings, but sometimes, man, we complicate things more than they need to be. Two people could probably want the same thing and deceive each other about it, thinking that we have to put on this front or act like this versus just telling each other what we want. It's a lot easier than you think. Try a thing. That's one of my things. Try a thing. So, yeah, that's the story that I wanted to tell today. I'm gonna keep it nice and short. And like I said before, I was gonna go ahead and play back the Chris Martin and Sean Nizzle song, and we'll end it there. Hopefully, the song is still queued up, which I don't think it is. But here we go. I definitely messed that up. This is not the same song, but I love this one too. This is called Stop.
We are tell bad mind again. We not beg no friend. My youth, you are pass your place, and this is your stop. Why in a people business, so make you love in a that and no food. I know you're dinner that. Your love chat, man, they get a fat. Yo, you are pass your place. Stop, you hear? Please take a few steps back. You pass your place. Stop at your place and don't pass it. Don't pass it. This is a true story where me can't forget. Man lose him, yeah, and him down because him love chat. And I walk down and blind now like a maniac. The same things what him they do and you me see no one do that. And it no right. For see Martin a step up in a life and you go home, your man a try. Give him a fight and it no right. For see me drop on a first class flight and you want crash a plane, you know want him to fly. Yeah, pass your place, and this is your stop. Why in a people business, so make you love in a that and no food. I know you're dinner that. Your love chat, man, they get a fuck down. You are pass your place. Stop. Please take a few steps back. You pass your place. Stop at your place and don't pass it. I'm gonna tell you something again. Don't watch people things, don't envy no one. Never see people things and think of your one. With the eye, love them out, not in the program. You hear? Move too fast, you need to slow down. You're like a big dull knife. You're not cutting. Full of argument, but you're not saying nothing. That's why every door you knock, none not open. And every opportunity you waste. You pass your place, and this is your stop. Okay. Why in a people business?
You know, I think that song was actually perfect to play because, like I said, we as humans naturally deceive each other and we pass our place. And this is our stop. And unfortunately, this is where my ToneyTalks ends and this is where I stop. So go and have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever. Later, until next week.